So my insights of how NHS dentists are feeling in Scotland is they're quite, at the moment, very disillusioned. There's been quite a lot of false headlines, which just upsets them even more. They've got different guidelines of what they can and can't do within the NHS and different guidelines of what they can and can't do within private work. So I'd probably say at the minute most dentists are just completely disillusioned about what the future holds. So therefore it's probably slightly making them panic, and then obviously my job is just to sort of reassure them and just say, let's make sure that we're ready depending on which way dentistry moves. So I think the most important advice for NHS dentists at the moment is, just do what you can in a day. Every day is going to be overwhelming, so just make sure that you just take a step back and making sure that your own health and well-being is looked after, because unfortunately if you're not at work and you can't see your patients, then you're not going to be any good to anyone. So I sort of think at the moment it's, they're trying to help their patients and they're trying to get their waiting lists down, but if they don't look after themselves, then that knock-on impact to their patients and their business and their practice is obviously going to be huge. So that's probably what I would say. So at the moment, my most commonly asked question from NHS mixed practices is, what should I be looking to do if things don't go to plan and they do want to move away from NHS dentistry after sort of April next year. And all I'm really saying is, at the moment, just make sure that you've got all your ducks in a row. We've got no idea what the future holds. People are expecting the news not to be very positive towards NHS, but at the moment we don't know. So, speaking to practice plan, making sure that you are aware of what your practice can and can't do, how many patients you've got, what the sort of process you would have to do if you did decide to go fully private. Again, talking about the basket of benefits from the NHS, how do we look at replacing that? Making sure your business is robust and financially as secure as it can be, because you might not have the sort of safety elements with the NHS payments coming in. So I just think that it's all to do with the preparation and making sure the foundations of which either way dentistry is going to go and what either way your practice is going to go, just make sure that you're ready and being proactive. There's nothing worse in this world than being reactive to a situation that you wished you'd thought about what you were going to do 6 months ago when everyone else is ahead of the game. So I just think, as I say, just being as proactive as possible. So how I help sort of business owners or principals within practice is probably just making sure that their business is protected, as a priority. Although they are working and that is important, but actually their business is probably their biggest asset, and just making sure that the business is, having financial health checks, because again, businesses have changed so much over the last sort of 24 months, sort of pre-COVID, and then during the COVID period, some businesses have thrived and embraced the change and taken time out to make sure that they're future-proofing the practice for the future. So again, it's just making sure they need loans or they need to make sure that any different changes is all protected. And then from a personal point of view, again, just going through how they're changing as people. Is their income structure changed, for example? And if so, just making sure that we're replacing any lost benefits that they might have. And also, probably the most thing that dentists are looking at as well at the moment is actually, when can I stop being a dentist? And just making sure that actually retirement becomes achievable no matter how old you are, and just sort of focusing on how to get to that end goal, not being too disillusioned by dentistry. It is still a great career choice, but you might not maybe be wanting to work as hard or as long as they have been. So it's just really trying to put them in an informed position to make sure that retirement can happen when they choose to, rather than it being dictated to by the NHS or because they can't afford to stop. So I think any NHS dentist that's looking to make any major changes within their practice, the first thing they should be doing is having a business and a personal financial health check. And doing that is just having a review with Wesleyan. It doesn't cost anything. Sit down and just having a look at what the situation is. Sometimes our advice is, do you know what? You've got everything spot on and that's great, and let's just sensor check this in 6 months. just like they do in the practice with checkups. So sometimes the best advice is to do nothing. Sometimes the best advice is actually we'll address that when X, Y and Z happens. But again, it's all just making sure that there's no surprises along the way. And I like all my clients to be as proactive as possible so that there's no surprises. And if something happens, they don't think, oh, what does that mean to me? Because we've already addressed that on the journey that we take them on.